So the theme is parties?
Sure. Whatever you want it to be. What do you want to do?
I don't know. You're the one with the stories.
All right, let's do it.
It's
Parties it is.
Parsees?
Parsees.
Parsees.
We're going to do some Parsees.
Hello and welcome to the Social Sarge Podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you subscribe to your favorite podcast. I am Hunter, joined as always by the Salty Sarge.
What up? What up?
And today we are in a party mood.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell them
I got
about
my drink here. We're at the Salty Sarge.
Yes.
And here we are. No, I just, the significant other said that a good episode might be talking about some incidents that I've came in contact with over the years with involving parties. And I'm going to tell you right now, I never was as a kid, a high school kid, I wasn't one to, I'll be honest, I never really partied or anything, not until I was way older. But that's the mature route. But I will say some of the funniest calls I've ever been on were involving some parties. And one year, it was New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve had kind of kicked off, and we got a complaint of like this. It was a big party, essentially, but it was in a nice part of the northeast side.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say the house was a multi-million-dollar home up on the hill. And I'd never really been down this street before, but there are cars everywhere. They line the street up. We kind of drive up, as we come up, we park and we kind of walk in because it's all blocked. And I'll never forget these high school girls. They were high school kids. They had to have been. And they're like, just don't talk to him. Don't look at him. And I'm like, I'm standing right here, like, hello, like you, and they, okay, we're leaving. I was like, you need to go. Like, well, as we're rolling in, I do remember as we're walking up, someone yells out, the fuzz. And then you just see people running for their lives. And there was one part where they're running down this hill. And I don't know if you ever seen like a PVC fence, like a white picket one, but it's PVC. This was a really nice one. I'm talking, it was like a stockade fence. It was probably 6 feet tall. It was just panels that completely surrounded the property.
Mm-hmm.
And these high school dudes, like you can see them running down the hill and they're like flipping and rolling. And we're not chasing anybody, okay? We're not even saying police or nothing. We're just walking up.
He just walked up.
Oh, man. And I am laughing so hard. And I'll never forget, I hear like this loud, like, I was like, what are they doing down there? And you see people kicking through the fence to escape. I mean, I don't know how much fence they tore up. They tore up so much fence. It's like, okay, so then we go up we finally make it up to the house. We knock on the door, and then you hear like, shh, be quiet, go. Okay, don't answer the door. And we're like, I can hear you, like someone come to the door. So this little petite girl comes to the door. She goes, hello, as you can see, we're having like a little get together. A couple of friends, I was like, it looks like an entire grade. Like there's probably 100 cars out here. What are you talking about? Like a little get together. And she's like, I know. And this one guy is like, hey man, what's up? I was like, what's up guys? And they're like, hey, we're not drinking or anything. And we're like, okay, yeah, sure. And she's like, my parents are gone. I was like, yeah, duh. And I said, listen, people are complaining. You guys need to shut it down. Okay. And so we kind of just walk away. But as we come around back to our cars, it's a circle. It's like a circle private drive around this house. It's like a forest. And like it's real dark. And we drive back around through the forest. And it's like the forest comes alive, dude. All these kids like run out of there. They're just like popping up. And you're like, I'm yelling, run for your lives on the PA. They're just like, they're throwing bottles and cigarettes and whatever, contraband, whatever, high school contraband everywhere. And they just get down and we're laughing. And I don't make contact with anybody because I don't care. And of course we scare the living bejesus out of them. But once we're done with that call, me and my buddy are just laughing. We're laughing so hard. I wish he was here for that one because he was a part of that one too, that one guy I used to work with. But he's been a part of a lot of good stories. And then when I moved then there was one night, there was a lot of issues at this river.
Mm-hmm.
They were having a lot of problems where there's been a lot of fights. And I think someone might have even got killed. I had moved out of that division to another area, and I came in and worked overtime, and my wife was riding with me. And I'll never forget some of these little high school kids get so entitled. And she gets out of the car, and they say, hey, go down to the river. They've been having problems down there. So we park, and we're going to walk down this road. And I look back, and Brandy bites it. She just falls down like in this hole. And I'm like, and she just disappears. I was like, are you okay? And she's just like, I'm really hurt. And about that time.
And Brandy's not like a short person.
No,
just
she's
falls
a giant. So like when she fell to the earth.
Like Micah.
Below the earth, because it was like a ditch. And I didn't even see it, but she just rolled and gets up. She's like, oh my God. And later on, we realized she really injured her leg.
Oh.
But she pops right back up, or her back, yeah. And there was another guy standing there with the ride along. And as we're walking up, this kid it's a kid, you can clearly tell. And he's like, hey man, what's up? And I was like, hey dude, like, what are y'all doing down there? And he's like, oh, nothing. I'm getting out of here. And I was like, okay. And then this other kid walks up behind him and he goes, hey, you don't have to talk to him. You don't speak to him. And I went, are you talking to me? Like, what? And then he goes, no, man, I'm talking to him. I was like, well, you need to shut your trap. Like, you need to just step off, dude. Like, that's not how this is going to go. And I could see that he had been drinking. And I said, how old are you? He was, I'm 18. I was like, oh, 18 and cocky, huh? And I said, come here. And I go, and the other kid, I was like, hey, man, you can get out of here. Like, but I'm going to talk to this kid now.
Yeah.
And he's drunk.
He wasn't even a target. He
literally, I'm telling you, people, you walk up on stuff that officers are there and you put yourself in there. That's a problem. Nuggets of knowledge there. Don't do that, because then you're going to embrace the suck. Because he come up, especially drunk. I mean, how stupid can you be? He comes right up to me and he's like, he starts giving lip, and he's drunk, and I could tell. And I was like, dude, we're not going to do this. He goes, I'm going to tell my dad. I'm like, oh, your dad? Ooh, yeah. I mean, how old are you? I'm 18. I was like, ooh, a little 18-year-old. So he starts coming at me, and then he wants to fight me. Well, that didn't work out so well for him. So, some smack in the ground, and I put him in custody, and I said, you're going to jail now. And so I put him in the car, and when we do at the time it was called the use of force, we called out the supervisor. So I already called the supervisor. He's like, no, it's no big deal, just get out of here, take him to jail. So he goes, that kid obviously needs a lesson tonight. Because it's funny how once you put the handcuffs on them, they're like, I'm really sorry, I should have done that. Oh, yeah, dude. Like, I'm really sorry, sir, I should have done that. Like, just take me to my dad. I was like, no. Like, you're 18, you're going to the pokey. You're going to learn a lesson.
The consequences to your actions.
Exactly. You're going to learn that you don't come up on an officer like that. Just like, if you'd have come up and be like, hey, sir, we're sorry, like, we're going to get out of here, and I'd be like, okay, cool, that's a good idea.
Now, did you make him take a field sobriety test?
No, he wasn't DUI or anything like that.
Ah, okay.
So that only applies to like car arrest.
Ah, okay.
He was just walking.
But you can't do that on like if they're underage.
No, I mean, you could he had said he had been drinking, and you could smell it on him, and you could tell. And then, I mean, he was public drunk. So in the city, some cities have like disorderly conduct or like public intoxication. Mm-hmm. And that's what he was. So that's what he went to jail for. So he took a ride to the Chartel Motel for the night. And you know what? That might have helped him maybe next time think about his decisions, hopefully. So and that was the end goal on that one. So when I moved to the other part of the city, we had taken a call. Actually, the neighborhood that we used to live in, me and Brandy moved to a while back, but we used to live in this neighborhood, and we got a call out there. It was gated, and in the neighborhood there was a big party, and there's several complaints, like several houses, a lot of Karens calling in, like there's a big party. And so we go cruising over to that house. There's cars parked, and I'll never forget, we knock on the front door, and the front door opens, and I see like 40 or 50 people all fit through a back door. I saw they had a big center island, like a big island now, and it shifted. And like it moves, and all these kids are just like, oh my God, like they're running like like it's a mass shooting or something, dude. Oh, they're literally they fit, like all 40 of them fit through this little A-frame door. And they're just like all stuck. And I'm just laughing. And then I come out to the front. I don't know, because they're going through the backyard. I come out of the side of the house, and I just remember seeing girls, guys, whatever, jumping these fences. They're throwing their bottles over into the grass, and they're jumping. They're just ditching, like they're just going to get thrown in prison for the rest of their life. That's how fast they're moving. It was hilarious. I'm bent over laughing. I'm just like, look at these. And this girl's stuck, and she's hung up on the fence. She's not the best shape. So she's stuck on it, and she's trying to like, should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? And I go, just jump already. And then she just kind of leaped off of there and flopped on the ground. Oh, man. And you hear a boom. And then she kind of gets up and like, I'm okay. And takes off running. And then I remember coming back around. And at that same time I was coming around the house, like someone's kicking out the front window of this house. Like, they don't live there, dude. Mm-hmm. And they're kicking, like escaping. I was like, you can't go through the window. We're right here. I go, boogie, boogie, boogie. Then they run back to the other side. Oh, man, I was laughing. I'm just yelling. I'm going, run for your lives, run, you know.
Like, what's the maximum charge you're going to get on that?
The only person we're going to really charge is the parent.
Yeah.
For allowing it to go on. And that, it gets better. So as we're hanging out, we get a hold of a kid that, you know, we get word, because kids start coming back. They start walking back like, hey, I give up. I'm like, okay, just call a parent, you know, have them come get you. So we had them worked out till that happened. And then we finally find a kid that he's like, hey, that's the kid's, you know, he owns the house, essentially. So we're like, where's your parent at? I don't know, man. I don't know where she's at. And all of a sudden the garage door opens and this lady comes walking out and she's like yawning. And we're like, where have you been? I just got here. I came through the other side. I'm like, no, you didn't. There's only one way in here. Like, we're at your garage. And because the garage faced the street and then you walked around the front and there was the front of the house. And I said, we've been standing here the whole time. Like, what were you doing? Nothing. I'm like, you were in bed when all this is going on. Like, how are you sleeping right now? So we come inside and her house is a wreck. She goes, oh my God, my house is a wreck. I want to press charges. I'm like, press charges for what, lady? You're the one that caused this. I go, hey, this is all you, girlfriend. That's what you get. So we left it at that and we left and we stayed out there for quite some time though. Just because of all the parents that were coming back and all the complaints we got from people calling in, like, there's people in my backyard, like guys that drove it. There's a bunch of kids hiding in my backyard. I go, you got bear spray or like pepper spray? Just spray them. Like, I don't know what to say. I mean, this is like,
it's funny the thought that you have very minimal trouble if you actually just turn around and give up versus I'm now going to commit a felony. With breaking and entering in this home to get away from these police officers.
Yeah, I mean, like they're wanting to go hide in someone else's backyard, their cars. I mean, oh my God, like for real. But yeah, that was a pretty good one. And then when I moved to the south side, I never forget we took one, and I had my wife's father was riding with me, my father-in-law, and it was a ongoing deal. We'd got multiple complaints. And, you know, 2 shifts overlap each other. So I worked the nighter shift versus the evening shift. So they had already come out a couple of times and there's cars everywhere and it's later in the night. And I come walking up and they shut this gate real quick. And like, shh, real quick. Like, he can't see us. And I'm standing in their backyard. And my father-in-law is standing next to me. And I look at him and I mean, it's pitch dark. And I go, I'm standing right here. I'm like 10 feet from you. Like, hi, how's it going? And they're just like... She didn't see us, don't talk to him. I'm like, who's in charge? This girl goes, me, sir, it's my quinceañera. And I was like, okay, well, it's time to end it, you know. And then she was cool about it. And then some other kids started kind of getting mouthy and because they were intoxicated. And that's a culture thing, man. That's like their culture, dude. Like they get intoxicated real young. Like teenagers is not like Germany. You can buy beer in Germany at 13 or 14 years old. So some cultures are okay with it. And I'm not saying I'm not, but I didn't care about that. I just don't, I'm just there because other people are calling in. Just don't be mouthy to me. You know, don't dig a hole for yourself.
Is there a movie that I don't know about where if you don't move, the police can't see you?
I don't know,
the
dude.
T-Rexes in Jurassic Park.
Yes, I don't know, but like I could see I was just standing there, and it's almost like I could reach up and just like poke him, like, "Hi, peekaboo," you know. I mean, yeah. And her dad is losing it. He's like, "We're standing right here." I was like, "I know, dude. Like, I can't make this up. Like, they really think we're not here."
We don't have the highest education here.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, well, if we don't say anything and we don't make a noise, then we're good. Like, no, just don't talk to them. Don't acknowledge them. I laugh about it. I just laugh. And then we took one where we had received multiple calls, and I come around the corner, and my old car had this like crazy like purge kind of siren, and the car I have now doesn't do it. But that one did, and it was loud, and it was freakishly weird. And I just told her, I go, "Watch this." And I turn it on, and I come around that corner, and I'm a couple blocks away, and I could see all these people. And it's like you ever see like in a lake or something where a school of fish just kind of move real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, like the whole group
All swimming away.
tries to fit through this front door, and they're all like just like 4 wide, and they're like breaking, and they all get in and they shut the door real quick, and I'm laughing and she's laughing, and then we just kept trucking. So we get down about another block away from it going away, and this guy runs out. He's standing by his truck. He goes, "Hey, sir, there's a big party going on down there, but man, I don't know what that siren was, but that was crazy sounding. And all those kids ran. It was the funny as hell." And he goes, it was some cop car. And I said, "That was me." And he's like, "You're the coolest cop I've ever seen."
The coolest cop.
I was like, "I like you, man." He goes, "Man, I got to shake your hand." I was like, "Yeah, that's what we're here for, sir." And I always tell people, like us on Facebook, and then we move away or whatever, but real nice guy.
Hey, but now you can like us on Facebook.
That's right, exactly. But I mean, if you have listeners out there who have kids that are high school age or whatever, and they ever encounter the police, just be respectful, and respect and honesty go a long way with majority of officers. So
Yeah.
Just hang out, because I had one where I'm parked. Usually, like these new neighborhoods, they'll have like the roads and stuff. And there was one area I'd go out, and some Karen called in about, "Hey, there's cars parked in there." It was just a bunch of high school kids from like Euconia or something like that, or Stang. So I come flying in there, and they all kind of leave, and I just park. Well, this one brave soul, he comes walking up. He goes, "Sir, are we doing anything illegal?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. Are you?" He's like, "We're not racing. We're just out here just talking." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "That's no big deal." I go, "Someone just called in." I was like, "What's your name and stuff?" And we just kind of start talking. And then another one comes over, and then another one. And they're just like, we just started having conversations. And he goes, "Man, you're a really nice officer." And he goes, "We're to call everybody back." And I was like, "Okay." And so they all come back, and then we just kind of have like a Q&A deal out there for like 2 or 3 hours. And I was surprised because they were all joining some kind of branch of service.
Really?
Like every one of them had, like, they were seniors in high schools, and they were all going, like, one was Coast Guard, Marines. And I was shocked because that was right after COVID, or maybe even right before. And I didn't think any kids of this generation joined the military. So I actually was shocked, and I was very humbled by it. I mean, they were good kids. They were nice kids.
Yeah.
And they were, they had souped up trucks. I mean, they were obviously street racers at some point, but they were really nice kids, and it worked out well for them.
Yeah.
Because we were just talking. They weren't doing anything. They were all 18. They weren't doing anything illegal.
Yeah. And I think that extends more than just your children. I mean, any contact that you have with the police, if you just be respectful, and you can get a long way doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we just have a job to do, and we have families and homes we go home to, and we want to go home too. So, I don't know. I mean, we haven't had an episode in a while. It's been, a couple of weeks?
We had one last week.
Last week. Oh, okay. But today an officer was killed.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Today, and I look at a site that probably not many people do, and it's an app, and it's the officersdown.com, and it shoots a message to me anytime an officer across the country is killed in the line of duty. And I told her today there was one that was killed on a traffic stop. And he only been a police officer for about 4 months in Terrell, Texas. And he was gunned down on a traffic stop. But, we lose. It's crazy. People can tell me. I had a Ricky one time tell me he knew every person that was involved in an incident that happened in some a major deal that was just a use of force with an officer. He could tell you that person's name, but he couldn't tell you the last 2 or 3 officers that were killed across the country. And I said, that is sad, that we don't acknowledge that. We don't nationally talk about that because those guys are just people that go to work. And, I'm not down in any profession out there. Look, everybody does what they need to do to survive and work. But how many professions do you know that when you go to work that day, do you ever think about possibly getting killed? I mean, does any profession really, besides a first responder? I mean, do they think, hey, do I need to worry about going into my office today and getting gunned down? No, you don't, because it's rare. But every time an officer gets out of that police car and does a traffic stop, there's probably a 50% chance of him getting hurt. And I stress that to, everybody, hey, just remember that, and that being said, just think about that when that police officer pulls you over and he's walking up on you and he's all serious about things, is because those are dangerous events that he's, encountering.
Yeah.
So, this is what you have to think about. Just like when an electrician, he turns the power off. Some of them do, right?
Yeah.
Or OG&E, they're messing with the power line. They make sure they don't touch the certain line or they'll get killed. Your vigilance is there, or you have a nurse and or your profession, when you're messing with something, you want to make sure that's right, because if you don't,
there's dangers.
There is dangers with that, with your type of profession. I mean, I'm glad that you are overly vigilant, hopefully, in your profession, because if that's the one I'm, flying on, I want to make sure I'm okay.
Yes.
Or a pilot and stuff like that. But
for context there, I do aviation electronics, and that's what he's referring to. And yes, we will make sure that so once we complete a mod, we'll turn power on. And that is the most dangerous time, because if something goes wrong, it's going to go wrong then when it's that first time, turn on power. And one of the things we do is we will go in, depending on the size of the plane, and in groups of 2, you will have somebody who is basically checking everything. And then somebody is got a fire extinguisher nearby, and they got a big old 2x4 that they've carved a handle out of, and it's the beating stick
to knock you off of the stuff.
Yeah. So if you turn on power and you get locked in there, because once you get electricity going through your body at that amperage, you're not going to be able to move. You're not going to be able to let go. So the only thing they can do is basically beat you off of whatever is connected to the line. But yeah, so there is dangers to every single job out there, I'm sure. Some are probably less significant. I mean, you may get a paper cut, but I think as far as
detectives.
Yeah, detectives. Shots fired. But as far as high intense dangers and the possibility of death, I mean, I don't think there's really a job that's higher than what you have right here. So yeah, it's definitely important to be vigilant and look out and keep that in mind when you do encounter an officer. It's hey, they're just as much scared about their life possibly being ended as you are.
And I try to teach, my younger officers that, sometimes that's the most traumatic event for that person in their life. I don't see what's so traumatic about it. I mean, being pulled over, it's not the end of the world, but usually everybody is pretty terrified. And
it strikes the nerves. It does.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to, I don't know. I'm on the other side of it. So I'm not ever nervous about getting pulled over unless I really screw up. Unless I'm great, I'm doing 80 and 60, I probably should slow down, but I'm hope I don't get a ticket. I just don't want to pay for the ticket. And I usually tell the guy, hey man, are you running me a ticket or not? Because I really want to. That's a lot of money.
Really don't.
I need to slow down. I do. And I don't write a lot of speeding tickets. So if I speed, why would I write someone a ticket for it? But, that blinker fluid, though, that's annoying. When everybody's out of blinker fluid, you should get that refilled. You should really get that checked because 100 feet,
Man, well, so
Anyway.
back to house parties. Do we have any more stories?
No, I don't really, not that I remember because night shift. There was one, but it wasn't and the reason why I remember this was because my father-in-law brought it up, and it wasn't like a house party, it was a noise complaint.
Yeah.
And these guys are like, they're karaokeing. It was just a lot of music.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pull up, because I'll never forget this house, because it was right off of the main road through my area. And I pull in there, and you could hear it from the street, and you're just like, what is this? And, and then I look in the window, and there's a bunch of these, like, Hispanic dudes, and they're, like, going to town on this, like, karaoke machine, and they're just tearing it up. And it was so loud, and so the door's unlocked. I beat on the door I was there for probably 10 minutes beating on the door. I couldn't get anybody's attention. It was that loud. And so then I kind of opened the door, and I come in, and about the point of the song, the high point, I wish I remember that song because I jumped in on it because I grabbed the microphone and dude, they all stop and look at me like, what the hell? And it was just like, they just stop and they're just all staring. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm singing. And then I go, and I stop and they all go, oh, they start laughing. And then the guy takes their microphone from me. And then we just continue singing. Mike behind me, my father is laughing hysterically. He's like, I can't believe you just did that. Like, what else do you want me to do? I got their attention. So then I tell them in Spanish, I can speak a little Spanish. I'm like, hey, music guy, it's, very, very loud. So, and they're like, oh, see, and they always claim they can't speak English, but I don't think anybody spoke. But they sang the song perfect in English.
They sang it in English
Because it was like, oh, I know what it was now. It was The Boss. It was Born in the USA. That's exactly what it was.
Oh, man.
And I was singing it. And that was the song. And they actually had a really nice karaoke machine. It was like a big room. And it had a big screen, and they were hammered drunk, dude. I hadn't seen that many Modelo bottles in my life in that bar, dude. It was crazy. It was fun. And I started smelling the beer. I was like, oh, man, I wish I was at home drinking a beer right now. But we walked out of there. They turned down the music. Everything was great. And I will say, on a music note, I actually was on a big domestic deal between a huge family. And I ended that problem with a karaoke moment as well. So me and my partner, my good friend, I was talking about, Bully, he comes with me, and we're in there, and there's all this family, and they're all African Americans, Black people, and they're all loud and crazy and talking and drinking, lots of drinking going on. And so we're talking and we're joking, and then all of a sudden they're listening to Whitney Houston. That song, I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
And I remember I stopped and I go, wait, this is the good part. And I turn it up and I took my nightstick out and I extended it because I always look like a microphone. And I go, and the entire room sings the chorus.
Yeah.
And we sing it all and we're screaming. Oh, man, that was one of the funnest nights I had in a long time. And they were laughing. And after that, I didn't know really why we were there. It was just like, well, y'all have a good night. Yeah, oh, yes, sir, we're good. And I guess we didn't get any more calls there because they all got along after that. But I think they were irritated. I've been on calls before. They call in and go, hey, we have a debate. Can you help us? Like, I try to find the root of the problem, and then we debate about it, and then we leave. I mean, that really does happen. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We need a judge for our debate.
But it's one of those, those nights that we have at the Salty Sarge where everybody's just, having a good time and we're all, having some beverages and we start debating stuff, it was kind of like that. But they call the police to come out and help with their debate.
That's insane.
So, yeah. And it comes out as like a fight call, and then we get there and it's just really nothing but a debate on this and that. And then, yeah.
And you're like, okay, let's figure this out.
Yeah. Hey,
let's hear the argument.
If you would have told me, and this is what I told a rookie the other day, they did not, because he tells me, he's like, dude, like, I wasn't prepared for this. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, mind you, he's fresh out of the academy, and he goes, I didn't think I was good. They never told us we're going to do police reports. I'm like, that's all we do is reports. Are you kidding me? They lied to you. I said, well, number one, they never prepared me to be a psychologist, basically Dr. Phil, right? A marriage counselor. They never prepared me for that. A lawyer.
Well,
A
like Jerry Springer, let's be honest.
Oh, definitely Jerry Springer. Yeah. You know, what does he call it? The ringleader? I've been a ringleader. Yes. Yeah. It's a great, you could call it the circus, the greatest show on earth because it's live.
There you go.
Oh man, yeah, that's how it is, dude. Like it you just never know it on some of the stuff. And even the rookie was like, I can't believe those people called the police about that. Like they were really called the police about that. I was like, yeah, dude, like get ready. Like this ain't the, yeah. You got about 25 years of this. I go, get ready, because that's what happens.
Good luck to you, bud.
Yeah, good luck, because this, he was thinking it was like, like watching Cops, and I'm like, that's 5 minutes of fun, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to get 5 minutes of fun, and then the rest of it's paperwork and just, chaos of stress of just, critique and everything else. But yeah, those are some pretty good experiences that were all involved, either some kind of loud noise music or a loud party. Those were always fun ones. So
I do have a story for you when it comes to karaoke. So I think we were at it was like a 4th of July party or something to that extent, but we were hanging out and with one of my friends. He had a house. It's in a urban area. It's got some questionable owners there, but it was his first house, and he kept his place very nice, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. Most of his neighbors were really nice. They were all hanging out. We were out playing horseshoes. But then you have the one across the street. And the one across the street it has ornaments and random pieces of furniture all strung throughout the entire front yard and then wrapped around to the back side. And it's like random lawn chair, sofa, table with no chairs.
So it's like a year-round garage sale.
Yeah,
right?
It's like a year-round garage sale, but just for this one person. And I was like, so who lives over there? It's like, there's just this crazy old lady. And
the crazy old lady.
And
every neighbor knows that.
And sure enough, it's the crazy old lady.
I bet she has a bunch of cats, too.
Because she comes out, and mind you, nobody's at her house. She's just there by herself. She comes out there and like is bringing out on this cart, pulling behind her this big old karaoke set, and goes outside and sets that stuff up outside, and then starts having her own karaoke party outside, like as loud as she could, like with nobody there. Like there wasn't a party. She was just doing it, just to do it. We're over there like playing horseshoes, and we're just watching as this progresses weirder, and it gets weirder and weirder. And at one point, there was a older gentleman who came over, and he's riding one of those little electric wheelchair scooter things.
Oh yeah,
yeah, one of those. And it's like, he doesn't need it, because he as soon as he like pulled up there, he got out of it and started walking over there and talking to her.
I think I'm going to get one of those. Instead of a golf cart, just get that.
Get that. Yeah, get that instead. The little
zipper
geriatric scooters. But then to make matters worse, I guess they decided they were done talking over there, because he runs over there and gets on a scooter, and then she runs over there and sits on his lap. And then they both ride, and these things only go like 5 miles an hour.
Right.
Like so, and they just start driving down the road, and bye. We'll see you next time.
Oh,
but
man.
it was just absolute madness, and we stopped playing horseshoes because we just wanted to see what happens.
What unfolds? Oh, those are the great moments.
Yeah, man, there had been major drugs in that house.
Oh man, we had a neighbor like that too. She would, and I remember as a kid, we called her the crazy lady. My dad was like, "Hey, what's that lady did? Oh, the crazy lady's doing it," and she would like dance to the street to get her mail. She'd like do this like funny dance, and if you watched her, she'd do it even more. And she always wore like these big sunglasses, and she just, oh man. And that's what we called her, was a crazy lady.
The crazy.
I mean, that's what the crazy lady's house. We don't go near the crazy. And it was like that too. It had furniture and crap and just stuff everywhere. And you never went around her place because you didn't know. I mean, I don't know. It just scared the crap out of me.
Well, and the bad part is, as this is all unfolding, he is telling us, like, basically the story is like, oh, yeah, that's Gerald over there. His wife's at home, probably cooking something. And I hit, like, wait, what? Where are they going? They're probably going to go to Freddy's. They like to hang out there, too. And they're all freaking nut jobs. I'm like, what the heck, man? But they were having a party all to themselves, just like we kind of let some parties happen, and we definitely like to party.
Absolutely. That's what I built this place for.
But two rules to remember is to keep your music turned down late at night, and make sure you don't move. Otherwise, the police can see you.
Yeah. And another one, too, is know when there's a burn ban.
Yeah.
Listeners out there, they know, some people know what I'm talking about, but
whoopsie.
Another time.
Somebody who might be a salty Sarge forgot to check the burn ban.
I did check the burn ban list, and it said we weren't under a burn ban. And everybody comes to the party and tells me, oh, you get a fire. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And everyone's just like, doesn't say a word. Nobody says a word to me. And I'm thinking, guys, are you just letting this unfold? And then, boom, the fire department show up at the end of the night, I will say.
Yeah, at the end of the night.
I may have had a cocktail or two out of it.
Yeah.
And I was pretty irritated because I didn't want the fun to end.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, the fire was pretty much out.
Yeah.
But long before they came. But,
Yeah, they were super nice about it.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. And I was more or less embarrassed. But because I was later told, well, you should know the law. You're right. I should. My bad. Yeah. Hey, folks, I'm not that every day on the hour. No, that's not me.
So, in fairness, I think that very next day the burn ban went out because we had just a crap ton of rain, and with the burn bans they are like set to expire, so it'll last a week, and then they'll decide whether they want to re-up it or they let it expire.
And there was some moisture prior to that.
Yes. Oh yeah, there had been moisture.
There had been. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That's why I was like, hey, and there would have been.
There was no risk of a fire. It was just a technicality that the burn ban was still.
I will say there is a funny story on that one real quick. One year my partner and I and this other rookie, they actually, this couple had this really cool, it kind of inspired this bar. They wouldn't let me go inside though. And I was irritated about that, but it was actually it was a building, and it was a really cool little bar, and fire departments they called us. I had never seen a fire official pissed off before, ever in my career. They always seem really happy. So that note, go be a fireman. If you ever think about, hey, should I be a fireman, police officer? Go be a fireman, because they're always happy. Every time they come on calls, they're always happy. But these fire guys were pissed, and I'd never seen them that mad before. And usually the area you work, you kind of come in contact with these guys quite a bit on calls. So you kind of get you kind of, not a relationship, but you can know each other, how they're going to kind of react. And they knew us, and they knew how we took things, but they were excited to see us that day for some reason. And so these fire guys are like, yeah, they had this party, and there was some fireworks or something. They got called out about fireworks, and they're lying to us, and this guy's being a total jerk, and he said we can't go on his property and this and that. And so my buddy, he busts through the gate. He just busts through his gate. He goes, you mean this gate right here? And he's like, yeah, you can't. And he goes, get out of my way, sir. And we come around the corner, and then my partner's pissed, and he never gets mad. He never gets mad. I usually am the one that kind of goes off a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of watching this go down, and they're talking to us, but they're kind of being real. I don't know how to explain it. It's like when people are kind of being kind of standoffish a little bit, but they're not they don't answer questions. They may answer it with a question,
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Well, why are you here? Really? We're doing this? So we kind of get into it for a second there, and they had already pissed off the fire department. So we're like, And the fire guy's like, we know there's fireworks. So you guys, there's no firework. And of course, my partner's getting pissed. He goes, so you mean to tell me if we find any firework, we're going to have a charge? And he's like, yeah, search my property. So my partner, who never gets irritated, right? He walks out and comes back and he goes, sir, I have one question. What is this? And it's this microscopic black cat. And he's kind of pointing, and I walk up and I go, yeah, what's that right there? We're just kind of pointing at it. And my rookie's like, yeah, that too. We kind of all do it. And this guy's like, oh my gosh. He goes, you're getting a ticket. And so it kind of shuts him up. Like he goes from like, I'm the man, like you're not going to have come on my property to, I'm really sorry, sir, and everything. Well, the fire guy was really getting heated before that. So we go back to our car and my rookie writes out a citation, comes back. They would not let me go in their bar. I could kind of see inside it and it was really cool. And I was like, man, I'd love to have something like that someday. I'm like, I really would like to have a hangout because it seemed like a good group of people. They seemed pretty cool. And they didn't like us.
I heard they had drugs there. Why don't you go check?
I know, right? Hey, y'all got drugs? Hey, let's go. We should have got the canine out there. Sitting in a furnace. So anyway, at the very end, I'll never forget that we walk away, and the fireman's like, the fire guy got back to being a fireman. He's like, hey man, I'm really sorry. He's apologizing to this guy now. I'm like, are you serious? You're making us look bad, you coward. And he's like, over here, man. They're over there hugging it out like, hey man, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry too, sir. And I'm just like, you guys suck, man. You made us the bad guy. Once again, the heroes drive away in their little red truck. And we look like the jerks, but that was a funny time. I'll just never forget when he's like, what about this right here? And I'm telling you, it was not a full firecracker. Like it was like a little $5. Oh, dude, it was like a piece of a black cat that you could barely tell. I mean, he had to use tweezers to see it, and he's like, what about this right here? And of course, I follow up with
it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I go, yes, this right there. And of course, I follow up with my finger right next to it, like looking at it, like, yeah, right there. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Oh, not right there. And they're like, oh, so we did have some fire. And I think they popped some big crap because we later found some, but it didn't matter. It wasn't a big deal. Like I could have cared. We only went out there because the fire department got pissed off.
Yeah.
But and then they were the ones throwing us under the bus at the end, So, but that was a good time. But
you tell them you won't get a ticket if you let me see your bar.
Oh, dude, I really wanted to see that bar, man. I know the neighborhood it's in. I'd like to drive out there sometime. It's just like, hey, I brought beer. Like, who wouldn't have a problem with that, But I don't know. They seem like, not real nice fellas if I was in uniform. But outside of it, I mean, I tell people on calls, I'm like, man, I could have a drink with you. You seem like really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. But those are some pretty fun experiences that I've encountered that it started off rough. But I go into it just laughing and I don't know. I only get irritated if I'm pushed, you know, but if I'm pushed, I'll get irritated. But if I'm not, I'm curious. I'm just as curious as most people. When I go on these calls, I'm like, hey, I wonder what their house is like inside there. Oh, can we come in? Oh, absolutely. Oh, hi, how's it going? And you walk around, and you're like, wow, this is a really cool house. Like,
who's this in this picture?
Yeah. Oh, I've done that before too.
Yeah.
A lot of times. That's another good story we could talk about. We could call the episode "The Fugitive Task Force."
The Fugitive Task Force.
There's the episode. There's a couple of good ones there that I got some pretty good stories on there. That during the arrest, I'm like, hey, who's in that picture? Oh, that's my husband. He's an original Tuskegee Airman. Oh. And I felt bad at that. But anyway. But maybe next time. We'll have that next time.
Absolutely next time. All right. Well, this has been the Salty Sarge Podcast. You can find us on Facebook and anywhere else you find your favorite podcast. We want to thank you for listening. Salty, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love being here. And I can't wait till we go live and where we're videoing. And
I know. Somebody's got to build a lounge here soon.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I got in trouble for that.
You got in trouble
today about I'm like, yeah, I want to get it done. But anyway.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, we thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next one.
Next time, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.